Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion, please. The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth plus 12 wins in a row. Can I tell you? Can I tell you? This is the first episode recorded in the new office. HQ 2.0 XM6R RV X6. Some things still, you know, I mean, we're like literally, I know I've said this for a while, but we're like moved in at this point. We're set up. We're good to go. The offices are good to go. The furniture is good to go. We just got like a couple more things to get delivered. Don't hurt me, please. That's a huge damage bonus for now. And then also, I gotta get, like, I might sound a little reverby right now. I think it's strange to say, but I think I sound more reverby to myself live than I do on the recording. Like, what? So our streak has been ended in a mere moment by an invisible enemy that did a full heart of damage. So, you know, I was excited to start playing some Isaac in the new setup, and I feel like we had the opportunity to have a beautiful moment together, and you know, you've ruined that. You gave me a good item, and then you gave me an invisible enemy that killed me in one hit. To be honest with you, for many moments there, I did not even know what was happening. I didn't know what had killed us. I knew it. It's okay, you know, like at the end of the day, life, it does go on, but still, it's a little, not annoying, but it you know, it's one of those ones where you're just like, what was I supposed to have done in that situation? I didn't even know that there was an invisible, I guess I could have not stopped moving, I'll admit, but I'm not saying there's nothing I could have done, but it's a bit out of left field. Anyway, I'm not going to let it dampen my spirits. You know why? I have perspective. For the first time in my life, I have perspective. I have spent the vast majority of my waking hours for the past, I mean, we've been moving for a long time, as it has been noted in the videos, but like, especially the past like 3-4 days, almost all of my waking time has been lifting boxes, you know, loading them into a vehicle that's not really meant to be moving them, unloading them. And I'm not saying I'm doing most of the work, because it's quite the opposite. I really, you know, Kate is doing most of the work. I'm just doing the more overtly physical labor, which has a much lower time investment, but it's still like, I'm real sore. And all I've dreamt about for like the past 2 days is, oh man, how awesome is it gonna be when I finally get to go back to my cushy job, playing video games all day, instead of pretending to be, you know, strong. Don't get me wrong, there's been some pride in lifting the boxes, and, you know, I feel like, to be honest with you, it was more of a workout over the past week than my average workouts, just based on soreness, which is not really, I guess, a good metric, but I worked out muscles that get, you know, not nearly as much attention during, you know, an average workout. So I'm always, people are always saying the biceps are like the beach muscles. You are wrong, brother. If you think, you know, working out your biceps is vanity, why don't you go ahead and move 30 to 40, 50-pound boxes. Tell me what muscles you use the most. Legs? Legs aren't a muscle. Hamstrings? Yeah, you do use, it's a lot of hamstrings, and honestly, like a lot of calves. And certainly your, like the muscles in your back, particularly your lower back, are doing a lot, more than you would like them to do probably. But I'm telling you, the biceps, they're responsible for holding the thing close to your body in order to give yourself, you know, the physical leverage you need to hold it up. That's a very, those are not beach muscles. Abs, sure, they're a little bit of a beach muscle. Not that I think there's anything wrong with, you know, training a beach muscle. Okay. what does it matter, you know? But telling you, you ever see somebody in the gym doing bicep curls? Don't assume that's a guy who wants huge arms for vanity. He might just be moving a vanity, which we also did. Anyway, I do like I sound pretty good on the recording, I think, but it's a little echoey, mostly because my office is so big as compared to my previous office, which is amazing. Our old place, for perspective, I'll give you some dimensions. Our old place was around 600 square feet, one bathroom, and then we converted like bedrooms into offices, basically. It was honestly, you might be like 600 square feet, that's too small. Probably true. However, you know, I live in a city where space is at a premium at the best of times. They make good use of the space. Like, you know, when I was growing up, I lived in the suburbs, and you might live in a place that's, I don't know, like 1,500 square feet or something like that. Look at his face, dude. Cute as a button. And if someone was like, hey, the place you're gonna live in as an adult is like 1/3 the size, you would be like, it's not possible. But it is, you know, you just have a smaller everything. You get a smaller living room, a smaller, you know, you might not have a dining room, for example. You know, you cut a couple of bathrooms, you cut a bedroom, and, you know, you don't get a mud room, you don't get a powder room, you don't get a, hey, this is where we keep the stuff we don't want. You don't get one of those, you know? You gotta be a little bit more creative. But our new place is like, you know, more than double the size, somewhere around there. And my office is like triple the size, and it rules. The only thing that doesn't necessarily rule is I am going to have to take a trip, buy some home furnishings. What do you got for me? Oh, I'm going to go right here, and I regret everything. We should really go to the shop. I do need to go buy some home furnishings because, you know, my wife's office, she has her computers, you know, desk, monitors. She has a piano. She has, like, bookshelves that have, you know, games, Blu-rays, and she's got a display case for memorabilia and stuff like that. My office, I have my desk, I have my computers, I have my monitors, and then I have nothing. I still, like, I've never bought decorations. I just don't, I don't get it. And I'm embarrassed now that I live in a place that is a little bit more, you know, permanent and, you know, has space for stuff. I need to get some stuff. You know, right now I have behind me, you can't see because the webcam's off, obviously, but behind me I have like a shelf of our board games, but like it's really mostly there because there wasn't any other good place to put it, and we use them, so we don't want to like throw them into a storage unit or something. So, you know, I have like no decorations. We don't need to put like, I don't want to do the YouTuber thing where you put like a bunch of, you know, amiibos or whatever behind you. I'm not deliberately trying to insult Mathis, okay? It's just, you know, I like video games, I like pop culture, etc., etc. But I don't want to be like one of those Ready Player One dudes who's like, you know, like I'm 40 years old and I got like a poster for John Carpenter's The Thing behind me. You know, it's like, don't get me wrong, like I love The Thing, but I don't know if I love any movie enough to be like, please put a framed poster of that behind me forever. The real Galaxy Brain is we just keep that webcam real estate and then we auction it off every month to a new subscriber. Dollar Shave Club, Casper mattresses, you know, Sherry's Berries, etc., etc. That's the Galaxy Brain play. Ooh, I'll take it. But anyway, I still like, I you know, I always assumed that once you know I got older, I would just get to the point where I like, you know, I knew what kind of decorations I wanted. I still have never in my life wanted a decoration. You know the feeling you get, like, in your soul, where you're like, I need to have possession of this object? You know, as created by the marketing machine. I've never had that for, like, you know, a dresser. I've never been like, oh my god, I need to have this dresser. I always assumed that, you know, by the time I reached this age, I would maybe, you know, my perspective would change. That has definitely not been the case. But then, you know, I see when my wife was showing me, like, the way she wanted our place to look. I was like, yeah, it sounds cool. You can just handle it. I don't really have any area of expertise there. And then, now that I've seen it in action, I'm like, yo, it looks amazing. Please do that to my office as well. Yo, I'll take it. But anyway, that's the reverb. If you're hearing a lot of reverb, I know it's like, you know, it's like sleeping in a hotel bed right now. You've listened to me talk for 1,000 hours. I sound slightly different. It's not the first time it's happened, but it's the first time it's happened in a while. It can be a little disorienting at first. I promise, like, by the end of this video, you'll get it sorted out. You know, mentally it'll feel normal. But for now, just bear with me. We've been real busy. Like real, like, dude, you don't even want to. So, you don't even want to know how many loads I've put in this car. Please don't take that out of context. I never want to see a box again. And, you know, I mean, you can take that one out of context if you want. I don't know if that's as bad as the loads in the car one. But, like, I just... You know, like, when you move, if you've ever moved, cardboard boxes are at, like, a premium. Sometimes you have to go to stores and be like, hey, do you guys have any boxes I could just take? Sometimes they'll sell them to you. These ones, as soon as we got, like, our last loads moved in, I just broke them down and threw them in the recycling. I was like, I never want to see these again. I want to inhibit our ability to move as much as possible. I'm throwing spike strips in front of moving trucks. I'm not actually doing that, but, you know, for the purposes of the bit, it sounds funny. But it just feels good to be in the place, you know? After we got so lucky to not get hit there. After spending so many days moving. To finally just be like, today I can just have like a normal Sunday. I could work, you know, eat some lunch, go to sleep, maybe even have a little bit of free time in the middle somewhere. It's a dream come true. And that's why I am unperturbed by the fact that we died early on here. It's a new office, sure. Let's get a new streak going. Definitely give me one of those. Might as well take one of those. I'd rather just swing for some kind of static benefit like starter deck. Instead of, you know, there's like a huge variance, unfortunately, in playing cards. Sometimes you get like the Joker, and you're like, this is amazing. And then sometimes you get Ace of Hearts, and you're like, why did they add this card to the game? Oh, there's a needless amount of bloat in Isaac, blah, blah, blah. It's constantly, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. I'm making fun of myself. And the game a little, but mostly myself. So I'm not going to redo the floor. And that's, I'm not going to call it laziness. Laziness is for an amateur Isaac player. I am a tenured Isaac professor. So it's not laziness. It's just that's something that adjunct Isaac players have to do. I got tenure a few years ago, which means that no matter what mistakes I make in Isaac, you just can't fire me. I have a lifetime position at Isaac University. You know, you have to be on your best behavior. You know, people are falsely, I think, under the impression that a tenured professor literally cannot be fired. No, they can be fired. They just have to do something egregious, you know? It's like, you know, if you're an adjunct professor, if your student evaluations come in and students are like, he's a 6 out of 10 professor, the university might be like, sorry, brother, budget cuts. There's nothing we could do. If you're a tenured professor and you get like 2 out of 10 on your evaluations, they're like, oh yeah, but he does bring in a lot of grant money. You're just not held to the same standards. Which owns for me. There's not actually Isaac professorship. Obviously, you know, I'm a YouTuber, which means I exist in a pure meritocracy where only the best content rises to the top, and all content that is not up to snuff gets buried. Definitely does not make the trending tab. Definitely does not cause the entire website to reevaluate its positions. You know, you get the... I'm making a joke about the fact that YouTube is just funny, okay? For anybody that's not in the know about YouTube, like behind the scenes, and even if you watch like a lot of videos about the behind the scenes machinations of YouTube, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but I do think that some content creators kind of distort the way things work, and maybe I only consider it a distortion because my experiences are different, to be fair. But I do sometimes, I'm like, yeah, it's not really the way it works. You know, I think that some content creators don't meet YouTube halfway when it comes to, like, you know, monetizable policy, and think that, you know, they should be able to say just absolutely terrible things and still be able to have, like, Procter & Gamble products advertised on their videos, which is like, you can say whatever you want, but, you know, the Swiffer Corporation might be like, he says some terrible stuff in that video, we don't necessarily want to seem like we're tacitly in support of. But anyway, we will take Anemic. Unfortunately, the best of those two. But, you know, like, so there's the quote-unquote adpocalypse happened in, like, 2015, 2016 on YouTube. And that was where, you know, for the first time ever on YouTube, sponsors started to, like, realize what their videos were... What videos their advertisements were going in front of, and they were like, oh my god, this is insane. We can't put Coca-Cola ads in front of this, or have you lost your mind? So then YouTube was like, okay, we're gonna introduce like much more fine-grained monetization controls. You know, I've had to self-rate my videos for like 20 years. So every video I have to go, did you say a bad word in this video? And I go, no. And they go, did you prank somebody without their permission in this video? And I go, no. And then they go, are you resentful of the fact that we had no policies like this for several years, allowing channels like this that broke these policies to flourish, and then only after being forced to react have we demonized all other channels on the platform as a result of the actions of a few people who, quite frankly, just, you know, did bad things, and now maybe their actions shouldn't necessarily reflect on content creators who've been on the platform for a decade with good standing? That's a strong agree. I'll hit the strong agree button on that one. But anyway, so now, that's where we've been for like a few years, is, you know, people have been like, I gotta tone down the language and the questionable content if I still want to get monetized on YouTube on the regular. But then, you know, there's this new legislation that just passed in the US called COPPA. I know it sounds tropical, but actually it has sent a lot of anxiety through YouTubers. So the way that COPPA works is it's a legislation designed to protect children online from, like, content that might be deemed questionable. So, you know, all those, like, Spider-Man and Elsa videos. Basically, it got so bad. Let me out, thank you. It triggered, like, a law to be made. And basically now, it's like, if your videos appeal to children, and it's kind of a gray area, because, you know, how do you tell if your videos appeal to kids? Surely if you're like, hey, this is a toy review channel, and, you know, my job is to review children's toys while also having, like, goofy songs and stuff like that, that's pretty much cut and dry. But, you know, if you play, I mean, I'm playing, I don't feel weird about it because I'm playing, like, T and M-rated games, right? But... And also, I don't think it's possible to construe my videos as being for children, given what I talk about. Kids are just bored to sin by what I say on a regular basis. So I think I'm okay. But, you know, there's a lot of gray area. If you are, you know, a game YouTuber, and you don't curse, and maybe you have, like, a goofy personality, are you all of a sudden, are you making videos for kids? You might be like, I'm not making videos for kids, but maybe YouTube will see it differently. You know, they might look at your demographics. Thankfully, my average viewer is 72 years old, so I don't think I have too much to worry about. But you know, it's weird. So basically, we've hit a point on YouTube. I don't think we went to our item room, but I kind of don't care because I think we got a great setup coming our way. Where like for a long time, like my perspective on things is like 20. You know, let's just say from the dawn of YouTube until like 2015, 2016. The edgier you were, the more likely, in my opinion, you were to get an audience and succeed to some extent. Then, after the adpocalypse happened, YouTube was like, hey, your content's a little too mature for advertisers. Can you just tone it down a little bit? Many people made a pivot to being, at the very least, family-friendly, if not kid-focused. And now, like, a law has passed where you can't serve targeted ads to kids. Which, honestly, probably should have been the situation in the first place. But all those people that pivoted are like, what am I supposed to do? It's very simple. Just make inoffensive videos that are somehow also exclusively targeted at late teens and adults. My niche has finally come to pass. No swearing videos that reference things you're nostalgic for from the early 2000s. The dream is real. Anyway, it's a strange platform is all I'm trying. YouTube is just constantly in a reactive mindset to this sort of stuff. I can't really blame them. I'm sure like if you're, you know, working at YouTube, you're like, well, this law passing is gonna make a lot of people very upset. We could really use a win in the PR department. But it is what it is. Anyway, what the heck was I talking about? I don't know. Feels good to not be talking about moving is what feels good right now. This is the perfect sack altar. And, I mean, you just saw it for yourself. I don't know where the coins came from, though. Sack of sacks, I guess? That's weird. But also cool. But, like, we had bad familiars. And again, if you're like, well, you should have taken the other item first. That way you could have gotten that item for free. Again, please refer to my earlier discussion about a tenured professor. We're tenured, which means we can't be fired. Even if we make minor mistakes, cannot be fired. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This is the best I've taken a loss in a long time. It really is. It's a matter of perspective, you know? And I think I talked about this, like my recording schedule has been all messed up, as you might expect. But, you know, I think I talked about this maybe in even the very last Isaac episode produced. But, you know, it's a matter of perspective. I think, you know, when you do this, what I do every day, you start to, your window for, you know, what to be excited about, what to be mad about, narrows and becomes kind of like very, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Becomes a little shallow relative to the outside worldview, I think is one way to describe it. Like, you know, people out there have much larger stresses and concerns in their daily life than like, oh, we had a bad Isaac run that didn't have any damage. But when you're just, you know, sitting in your office recording Isaac episodes for like weeks on end, you're like, this is the worst thing that's happened to me professionally since that fake copyright strike from the Entertainment One Corporation back in like April. But it's true, you know? And then, you know, I have spent the last I mean, we've been moving a little bit every day, but really the last week has been like a full-time move setup. Now I'm like, oh, dude, it's just a pleasure to sit down. It is just pleasant to not be holding on to these boxes anymore. Every second that I am not in the process of moving a heavy and awkward cardboard box is a little slice of bliss for me right now. So thank you for that. Thank you for allowing me to get that perspective. Also, thank God I had a backlog large enough to let me, you know, do this. I've been anxious about the size of my backlog for a while. I've been like, oh my God, it's too big. Why is, like, my brain was, it was going into video hoarder mode. And I was like, I gotta start, you know, pumping out 2 videos a day again, or like for Isaac or something like that. But then, you know, over the course of this week, you know, exhausted quite a lot of the backlog. I was like, oh, that's right. That explains it. Anyway, feels good. That's about all that's going on right now, you know? Coming close to the end of the year, holiday season. I like the holidays for the most part, but it's always a little bittersweet because, like, my favorite part of the year is definitely June to December. And I have a problem, and I think that a lot of people are kindred spirits here. I say that my favorite time of the year is June to December. But, you know, by the time, that's another piece of acoustic foam falling down, no big deal. By the time, like, you know, November, December roll around, it's not even worth it right now. I'm like, oh, soon is gonna be January. It's cold, it's wet, you know, it's the start of tax season. Ad rates get low, you know, movie and game releases tend to peter out a little bit. Days are short, blah, blah, blah. So rather than, like, enjoying November, December, which are pretty sweet months for me, you know, like literally everything that I just talked about is inverted during those seasons. Plus, you know, except for the days being shorter, which they are. But plus, like, my birthday's in November. You know, and then there's the holiday season, which can be a lot of fun, and also some delicious meals, which are very important to me. But I don't appreciate them as much because I'm like, it's going to be January soon. You know, like I don't appreciate as much the times that should be the most enjoyable because I know that there's times that might be slightly less enjoyable coming. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I do not wish to re-roll this whole run. I apologize. I know, coward. Low T. Hey, man. There's no low T involved here, okay? You can call me low T when you go bald at 16. Because I went bald at, like, 19. Probably should have shaved at 18. But anyway, you know, it's a hard thing for a young man to accept at that age. I know that for certain because I see people in my Twitch chat that are like, NL, I'm 32 and starting to bald. Ooh, QQ. And I'm like, yeah, 32, nice. That's cool. I had hair for 1.25 years of my adult life, so I'm playing the world's smallest violin right now. Let's see what happens here. Big damage downgrade in exchange for range. It turns out the damage downgrade is basically not relevant because we're still killing enemies just by walking into them. And also, oh, that's right, because of it, our damage goes up over time. You see our range going up? Oh my God. So it's something to do with Libra, and then, you know what it is? I think because of Libra Aries, our stats constantly go up because our speed would normally go up with Aries. So then it's going to all of our other stats. So I think basically what I'm trying to say is with Aries, your speed goes up, but it probably doesn't stop going up once it hits the cap. It just stops mattering. So behind the scenes, that number that represents your speed value is still going up. So we're still getting the advantage for it with Libra. That's pretty cool. Now, admittedly, gaining like, you know, half of a damage point per second is not really that relevant for us, but like it's a cool interaction that I was, as of the present moment, unaware of. Whoa. So that's neat. It is, you know, for all the occasional quirks and qualms of Isaac, it is amazing that after all this time, you could still be experiencing new stuff. And maybe I've experienced it before, but if you're not experiencing something new, at least you're experiencing such a gap in between those novel experiences that it's like it's new for you. It feels new. Feels new. Sure, I don't think I could really take advantage of it, but sure, okay. This feels like a long floor, in spite of the fact that, you know, we're crushing it. I'm not mad, like, I mean, we're doing gangbusters right now. Whatever the heck that means. To be honest with you, I have no idea what a gangbuster is. It sounds like perhaps an antiquated term for somebody that works in law enforcement, but it beats me. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps it a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. See ya!